Thank you very much for coming. There's a few people more sitting down. Right, so let's get started. My name is Meredith Henson. I work for MineClick, and I'm here to present on behalf of GLH the solution that they implemented around their e-learning for GLH Hotels. And they use the Total Learning Management System for their e-learning solution. And this takes you through their journey in terms of why they went through needing e-learning, why they went for Totara, and why they worked with us, MineClick. And this is all with the permission of GLH Hotels, I should stress. So to start off, who are GLH? So GLH is the parent company for hotel brands that you all know, like Thistle Express, Amba, Every Hotel, the Claremont. And they are the central parent company for these larger hotels. So part of GLH very much is that they focus on their customer experience, their guest experience. And part of that is making sure that the systems around booking in and the guest experience are up to date, very valid, very comprehensive for their staff members. So their staff members are distributed across the UK. There's around 2,000 of them across the country. And that proved a challenge for them in terms of training, of course. So their training was previously, not so much existing now, but previously classroom-based. So they would have face-to-face sessions on site, which would take staff out of the hotels, away from customers, which meant that their customers were potentially suffering from the lack of staff in the area, as well as it being expensive to get everyone at various locations, and just generally not efficient for the kind of training that they needed to offer. Further to that, as if anyone who stayed at any of these hotels, the booking system, the check-in system is very up-to-date. It's all very modern technology. It's all digital. And their training with the staff, didn't reflect how GLH were running their hotels. So they wanted to improve that experience for their staff. So their question was, how do we train 2,000 staff across the country? All doing very different jobs, from people who are working in the restaurant to people that are in housekeeping to the management group. And also varied skill levels, so people that had been working in the hotel industry for a very long time versus people that were just coming in and very new to the industry. And face-to-face training just wasn't serving their requirement. So they wanted very much this idea of a one source of truth, which is a learning management system and a learning solution that would also allow them to run performance management, so appraisals within the application, and track the kind of training that each of their staff members had completed throughout the year. So they coined this one source of truth idea, and as part of their e-learning solution recruitment process was to look at a system that could offer these things. So not only be able to host e-learning, but also be able to provide them a blended approach, because they couldn't just stop classroom-based training altogether. They needed to phase it out. There's going to be some things that need to be classroom-based. And they wanted to be able to support a mobile and bring your own device model for all of their staff. They also wanted a very customizable user interface. So not only do they have people in different hotel groups, which have a very different identity across the different hotels, but also they wanted to be able to toggle things on and off within their application. So if they weren't using a piece of functionality, they wanted to be able to turn that off. If they wanted then to introduce that functionality into the system, turn it straight on. Of course, as if every learning management system, they also wanted to make it very learner-friendly, very approachable in terms of design, and also responsibly designed, which ties into it being mobile and bring your own device. And Totara ticked all of those boxes. So then why MineClick? Now, Sarah was going to be here on stage to read out this type of thing, so I'll let you read and absorb this quote from Sarah. Not my words, hers. But we are very, very proud of our level of customer service and satisfaction at MineClick, and it is a primary focus of all our projects and implementations, as well as ongoing support. And Sarah, I think, reflects that within her quote up here. I should point out the little platinum partner logo on the bottom there. We are platinum partners for Totara LMS. So they decided to work with us, decided to go with Totara, so we looked at their solution and what they needed in terms of providing blended learning, responsive design, toggle on and off, and particularly around the different brands that they manage within their system. So what we did was implemented a global login page, so GLH have a strong connection with KL. So they had this landing page where individuals would log in, all of the Alba, all of the Thistle and Thistle Express users, all into this one page. And we built, using the organisational hierarchy functionality within Totara, we built the various hotels into those hierarchies and linked all individuals through their HR system to those organisations. So once an individual logs in, the system immediately knows what hotel they're part of. And this is what we would term multi-tenancy, but more smoke and mirrors, because there's no major code changes to implement this type of strategy. So it all looks the same except for the brand. They can identify it. And the way that we've managed to do this is create 4 different themes and 4 different course pages, which are stored in one central category called front pages. So we can even customize which blocks, which are the My Learning, My Alerts, etc. Those are blocks within Totara. We can customize each of those blocks for each of the different landing pages for the different hotels. And this is all managed through organisational hierarchies and a little bit of theme magic, a little custom development, but not to the core code. Further to that, all of the content, so if we post, say, a news item, which we see along here, this will be branded as Amba News or Every News, so we can tailor it specific to specific hotels. And by using this approach, it's very extensible, so if they took on any new hotels or rebranded, we could accommodate those all very, very easily. We can also, using the audiences functionality within Totara, limit what content individuals see. So there'll be organisational or operational processes within Every that may not apply to, say, the Thistle or Thistle Express. So using the audience functionality, which allows us to create dynamic groups of users, which will update depending on the change to their individuals' circumstances or information. We can filter courses so that they're only visible to the Every team or the Thistle team or the management team or the cafe team, as you like. And that audiences functionality is all standard Totara, so you can do that out of the box with any application. So the other things that were on the tick box was around the customizable interface, so you can see the themes that we've done, and further to that, being able to toggle functionality on and off. So these are just some very rough screenshots of things you can do in Totara. On the far right, you can see that you can turn functionality on and off. Totara itself is very modular, which allows you to make changes to modules and install them into the core application, as well as turn functionality on and off. And so as an example, we can turn on appraisals, or we can turn off appraisals, we can hide, show, all of those things. Likewise, we can change all of the modules that Totara offer to individuals, so you can turn off forums or turn on forums as you need. Further to that, reporting was very important to GLH. They wanted to know how their training was being received, whether it was being completed. So Totara will track completion around activities, and in fact you tie in completion through to restrictions of activities or conditionals activities. You can create this unique learner journey. So if someone has completed a quiz and say got a lower score, they can be guided to specific content. Learners that have been perhaps in the hotel industry for a while and receive a better score in a pre-assessment quiz can be directed down a different path or within the same course. But reporting is still very, very important around that. So using the organisational hierarchies, we can generate reports and filter by those organisations. So Thistle managers will not only just see their team, but they only see, if they're a general manager, the Thistle team as a whole. So you can filter all of those reports. I also showed you, put up here a screenshot of our search. So this isn't standard Totara. We include it in all of our implementations at MineClick. It's just called a learner search block. Anyone who's familiar with Totara knows that out of the box, the search doesn't filter like this. And what we implement is, with all our Totara sites, is this standard search. It just looks like the normal search box, but it will allow you to filter by courses and content. And I've cut it out so I could fit it on the screen, but it allows you to filter by types of activities as well. So in this show all search results, I could filter by just forums or just courses and find it really easily. And I'll only see those courses to which I am allowed to access and that are visible. So I was talking about this audience-based visibility. Things that I can't see won't appear here. So I mentioned this one source of truth idea. Check myself for time. Good. the idea is that they also wanted to implement performance management within their system. And again, this is all out of the box Totara stuff, but performance management and using appraisals and the 360 feedback functionality at the time was one of the first times that we had done that at MineClick and with Totara itself. So there was a new piece of functionality in 2.6, improved in 2.7. GLH upgraded to 2.7, decided to go and give performance management a try. So we had it hidden, as you could see from those toggles to start with, and we built these appraisals. Now, appraisals are a challenging thing for any organisation, whether using a paper-based system or a digital system. You know that things change throughout the year. There's very much a dialogue between managers and staff. So we had to think very much in advance when you create it in a digital environment. Audiences are absolute when they're digital. You launch a form, you can't fix any typos, you can't decide to change a question here and there because you're moving the goalposts. So I spent a lot of time with Sarah personally, building these forms. And these forms can be multi-stage, so start of the year, mid-year, end of the year, as you like, or one stage, 200 stages, which I don't really recommend, multi-stage or multi-page appraisals as well. So within each stage, you can have a page, which will be basically sections, so professional development, competency completion, plan for career, etc. And we also used the goals functionality within Totara for them to create objectives. We renamed this because Totara goals wasn't a term that was used within the GLH group. We changed it to KRAs, so that meant something to them. And that means but we can change that within the language pack through the administrative interface. Sarah was able to do that herself. And users can select these goals and track these goals in terms of their learning objectives and professional development throughout the year and make changes and updates as they need to outside of the appraisal system. But when the appraisal stage opened up, relevant to their part of the year, then those goals can be pulled into that form and the manager can review, say, this competency here or this goal here, I've achieved that, or I'm on target, or it's at risk, as you need. It can be all updated. Also, all of the learning that a learner has, or a colleague, and they call them GLH, a colleague had achieved throughout the year can also be pulled into these appraisal forms, allowing this one source of truth. So one form, you can see everything that a user has done throughout the year. And that wasn't without its challenges. It is a tricky system to get right because you've got to make sure you test, make it live, do some tests, go back. So just a quick tip, free tip, when you are using performance management in Totara, just take lots of copies of your appraisal form before you launch it. So the other thing was importing information from the previous years. So we did a bulk upload of appraisal results from the previous years, and that then as the future goes on, they'll be able to compile that into one giant appraisal form so they can track progress throughout the year for each employee across each of the hotels as you need to. And you can push those reports, those MI reports, to the managers that need to see them automatically. You can schedule it to send them via email because managers are very busy and often don't want to go online and check on a report. So if it's emailed to them, there's no excuses. And so this all tied into the learning option. So through the appraisal system, if a manager sees that one of their colleagues is lacking in a certain area, they can go into the learning plan area and assign them various courses and competencies to complete before the next stage and track all of that development. So again, these figures and this information is from Sarah. So the impact so far, because there's no point running a project if you don't track impact rather. So in the first 6 months after launch, they saw 500 e-learning courses were completed. So that's a massive increase from what they were able to achieve via classroom and face-to-face training. And they say e-learning now has a stronger presence in the business compared to face-to-face, so they're looking towards integrating it more to the blended and online approach. And these aren't my words, these are Sarah's. Learners love it. So they like not having to travel, they like not having to book hotels, go through all the process of face-to-face training. They're enjoying going online. And of course you can make e-learning content a little bit more interesting for learners rather than sitting in a classroom session and listening to someone talk at you for 2 hours or 30 minutes. So what's next? we're currently working with GLH to create a new induction program. We're going to be writing a very detailed case study about that once it's ready to launch, so do check out our website. And you should be able to read all about that. It's going to be a major change to the landing plane, so an individual immediately when they join their organisation will have a customised induction process and program and be able to track their completion. We'll be able to track and report on their completion through the induction process to make sure that they've completed all of the learning and operational standards that they need to for their particular role. I've also talked them all around to open badges, which I'm a huge fan of. So we're going to be looking at implementing open badges and not only just having that internal to the Totara system, but also allowing them to push that out to wider backpacks. So as an organisation, they're using backpacks to recognise learning internally and also to demonstrate to potential partners and potential employees that they really do take the investment in their staff very, very seriously. So I've left plenty of time for questions. If you do have any questions about how to implement that or about Totara or how any costs involved in that multi-tenancy, we're in B17, which is about 3 stands back from where we're at the moment. Otherwise, I can answer any questions, prefixing with, I'm not a developer. So, does anyone have any questions? I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. That was very quick. Well, thank you so much for your time.